Recording in progress.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you all to the Tax Resolution Help Center. My name is May. I will be hosting today's session and introducing today's speaker. I will also be coordinating the Q&A chat session at the end of this session. I want to congratulate all of you for taking steps to deal with your taxes. Taxes from all sources, including income tax, payroll tax, property tax, excise tax, and sales tax, represent a 35% to 60% reduction in your personal savings and wealth. As you probably know, those with 1% of the wealth in this country have experts to help them pay a small percent of tax. Our goal is to help you reduce how much you pay in tax by educating and informing you on ways to reduce past, present, and future tax expenses. We think you are entitled to live a happier, healthier life by keeping more of what you earn and getting the taxman off your back. Our goal is to provide you good information with the opportunity to ask questions that are important to you. The presentation itself will last about 20 minutes, plus 20 to 30 minutes for you to ask questions by chat. I will select the questions and present them to today's expert. If you wish, you can include your first name and your state. That would be great. Other than that information, your identity is not mentioned. The information you are receiving in this session is not specific tax advice. If you want specific tax advice for your situation, you are free to contact today's expert or any of our tax experts at Tax Resolution Help Center. As you know, these group sessions are included in your do-it-yourself membership fee of $20 per month. If you are not yet a member, please sign up today. We need your financial support. To better understand what might be on your mind during the session, I might include some polling questions to ask you. I will then finish with a 5-minute wrap-up. Also, a survey will be sent looking for your feedback. And finally, this session will be recorded. The topic for today's session is dealing with IRS letters, notices, interest, and penalties. The tax expert for today's session is Kelly Coughlin. Kelly is a CPA, the chief executive of Everyday CPA and founder of Tax Resolution Help Center. Kelly's been a CPA for over 20 years and has helped countless individuals and businesses remove, reduce, and resolve past, present, and future taxes so they can live a happier, healthier life. Kelly says he loves seeing the relief his clients experience when they get the IRS off their backs. With that said, let me introduce Kelly Coughlin.
Hello, Maylene. Thank you for the introduction. Let's get on with it. I'm Kelly Coughlin. I'm a CPA, and I've helped countless taxpayers deal with IRS, ranging from simple letters, I should say IRS and state, deal with letters, simple letters, to audits, to not much criminal work, but at all, but everything in between. A simple letter to tax reduction. And there's a couple things going on out there that kind of gets everybody's attention. This new legislation that was passed launches a new big army of IRS agents with new technology to go after taxpayers. I don't know how much that's overstated. Not a big fan of it. I am in favor of improved or enhanced IRS collection practices and resolution of questions taxpayers have, because people can't even talk to them on the phone, as you all know. So I think in the long run, it'll probably turn out to be okay. But let's just deal with the matter at hand here. And that's, you get a letter, you get a notice or letter in the mail. Now, I try to bring some humor to this a bit. There can never be anything funny about tax and IRS. It's hard to to find something funny, I think, but I use this metaphor of a overheating car. There are three things that you don't want to ignore. When your car overheats, your toilet is clogged, and a tax notice. None of those things get any better with the age, and they need to be dealt with fairly rapidly. So, assuming that you are going to get on it, there's more or less 5 tips that you need to be aware of when you seek to resolve or respond to an IRS letter, for instance. I'm just going to use IRS representing all tax agencies because you pretty much take the same general approach. These 5 tips apply to all of them. First thing you want to do is make sure they have the right person. Make sure that it's you, in fact, that they should be contacting. You'll have your name, your social security number should be on there, maybe the last 4. The first 5 will be redacted, but make sure it's you. That's it doesn't happen often, but sometimes letter comes and you don't notice that it's going to somebody else. And then that sort of thing, if your social security number isn't on it and you get the letter, just ignore it. It's not you. It's not, don't worry about it. Next thing you notice is the tax year. Make sure that every IRS notice, whether asking for a follow-up on something, it will reference a tax year. Infrequently, you'll have multiple years, but typically they have their communications reference a tax year. You might have 3 tax years that you've got some things to deal with. And so you'll probably get 3 notices. And if you haven't noticed this already, if you're a couple, husband and wife, each of you gets the same notice. And so it looks like, wow, we're getting bombarded with IRS letters. Well, notice that the notice is probably a redundant one. They'll have your name on one and your spouse's name on the other. So you can kind of rip up the one, assuming you guys are on the same team here, rip up the duplicate one. So you're only responding to one. That's you each don't have to respond to this, but it's one. They just give each taxpayer a notice. So husband and wife both are put on notice that there's an issue that needs resolved. The next thing is notice type. Figure out those 3 things, really the 2 things. If you've identified that it's you, then you really just need to focus on what's the notice type and what's the tax year. So any communication, it's whether it be with a professional that's going to help you with it. First thing they'll ask, great, did you identify your name? What tax year are we talking about? What notice did you get? And on that notice, you'll see a whole bunch of additional disclosure and irrelevant pages on there. If you want to pay them, there's a voucher to send in. There's a paper reduction act thing. Get rid of all that stuff that doesn't relate to the specific matter at hand. So you're narrowing down the items that need attention. So you got those 3 things. Then you have the more tricky things to deal with is what was the purpose of the notice? Why did the tax agency notify you? It generally falls into 3 categories, primarily probably 2, I'd say, but 3. Let's focus on tax credits. Let's say you got some tax credits. Let's say you got earned income credit. They might be wanting some validation or verification of that. You need some information if you declared a dependent. They might sometimes it's triggered by an issue or exception. Sometimes it's just a standard practice to take a sampling of tax credits, child tax credits, for instance, and ask you to validate the existence of that person. There's a ton of fraud in that area. So you didn't commit fraud on it, don't worry about it. Just they need an ID. Come up with something that shows that that child actually exists. That would be helpful. If it's an earned income credit, frequently they'll just want, if you didn't have any W-2 wages that have already been validated or verified, just have something that records the revenues that you receive from your business and expenses. Be handwritten. Better would be, QuickBooks type thing. But if you don't have that, just say, this is what I earned in 2021. If that's tax year, here's the income. Here's the expenses I reported. That should pretty much match what was on your Schedule C in your business, in your business return, and your 1040 Schedule C. But you want to identify, what was the purpose? What are they asking me for? Are they asking me, frequently it's unreported income. They might have received a W-2 that you hadn't reported. It might have been some interest that you hadn't reported. It might have been a capital gains that you hadn't reported. That's kind of the unreported income category. And then you look at it and say, yes, then there's always a signature page where, do you accept this? And then you check this box. Yes, I accept this. Or more importantly, if you don't, then you say, I don't accept this, or I don't agree with it. I think the language is more agree, not accept, but the concept is the same. And then you can always ask for more time if you need it, right? I think the standard is 30 days, but if you need to get another 30 days, don't freak out. Just put on that letter, I dispute this, but I need 30 days to resolve it, right? I know we have a service at Tax Resolution Help Center for I think it's $350, $400, something like that, where if you don't want to have anything to do with this, just turn it over to one of our team members and they'll talk to the IRS. They'll do the work for you. Some people, even if it's simple, some people don't like the idea of having to connect or contact or certainly telephone call. We've got a number we can jump the queue and get in front of it quicker than you can, but try to do it yourself. If you need help, then you can pay somebody to do it. We've tried to price it so that it's fairly inexpensive, so you just get it off your plate and not worry about it. If you don't understand your notice, there's an IRS site here. Just type in Google "understanding your IRS notice or letter." You can get that in there. I think there's over 1,000 letters that they can send you. Forgot the number now. It's a ton of them. So those are the 5 tips. Identify yourself, tax year, the type of notice, what's the purpose? Are they trying to get you to report more income or substantiate your expenses? That might be another one. That's typically in an audit, but there might be just 1 or 2 line items. They say, hey, you took $25,000 on meals here, send us your substantiation. And then the resolution is you agree with it. And then if you do, pay the tax or work out a payment plan with them. I'd encourage you to get some help before you overcommit to some of that because there's frequently ways to deal with that without having to write a big fat check. That's pretty much it. There's 204 types of letters. I have some of this content in here. 204 types of letters and notices. 6 million CP 2000 letters are sent out. That's about it for me. I'm Kelly, the tax guy at Everyday's TPA. Thanks for watching and listening. And do we have any questions to deal with, Maylene? It's a little early in the morning for tax questions.
Oh, yeah. So looking at that here, we do have one question. This is from Facebook.
Okay.
What happens if I ignore the letter saying I owe more tax from income I didn't report?
If you ignore the letter, well, go back to that clogged toilet or that car that's overheating. What do you think happens with that? Only bad things can happen if you ignore. Frequently, bad things will not happen if you deal with it. Say 95% of the things, bad things will not happen. Now, I'm putting in the classification or category of not a bad thing is you might owe some more tax. But bad things are things like wages being garnished, assets seized. Those are really bad things. Getting a bill from the IRS every month for, let's say it's some settlement we work out, $50 a month. Yeah, that's not a great thing. That certainly isn't good news. It's not bad. Not bad in the scheme of getting your wages garnished. So it really isn't a good idea to ignore those things. It's they're all solvable. I know people tend to get overly worked up and excited in a bad way when they get a letter in the mail from the IRS, and I concede it's frequently never a good thing. But just deal with it and you'll be surprised. I do a lot of help just getting people to relax a bit. Don't get stressed out. Life is important. Life goes on. You look at all the things that happened in COVID, and I mean, one thing is I hope we all learn to cherish living in health and well-being, and this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a pain. It won't go away, but deal with it head on. And you've got a whole team of people here that can help you. And if you've got others that can help you, then get some help. But just don't ignore it. Don't let that toilet go clogged too long. You know what that can do.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Let's get on with the day. I've got a bunch of tax work to do, but that's my tip for this session. Thanks for putting this together, Maylene. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. So, well, that covers our questions, and that's it for today's session. I want to thank you for attending. Our commitment is to help you reduce your taxes and increase your wealth. We do this with the TriTax method of DIY, do it yourself, DIT, do it together, and DIA, do it all. 3 methods, 1 solution, reduce stress from no IRS or state tax debt, and a happier, healthier life. If you are not yet a member, please join for less than $20 per month. We need your support to continue to offer more of this session. Since it is now tax season, we have many sessions to help you do a better job of doing your taxes yourself. And of course, if you want help, we have a team of experts who can do your tax return for you. Please check our website at taxresolutionhelpcenter.com. And please join as a member today for $19.95 per month. Thank you for attending.